of the poor. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Please be seated. Our first reading from Isaiah points to the person of Christ, who is the fulfilment of the covenants made so long ago. We would, in a way, see the reading as God dedicating his Son for the work he is about to accomplish. The psalm speaks of the Lord as our light and our help. The Gospel reading is leading up to the Passion at the end of this week. And today we see a woman named Mary anointing the feet of Jesus. And he tells those with him that she will need this ointment again for his burial. While Judas was indignant at the ointment being used in this way, Jesus sided with Mary because the intention in her heart was pure and well placed. The reading also prepares us for the betrayal of Judas later this week. And meanwhile, the chief priests continue to plot his death. So today's Gospel serves as a lovely prelude to the Passion of Jesus. Jesus is back in the house with his friends, Mary, Martha and Lazarus, recently brought back from the dead. And perhaps these are his last moments of companionship before the horrors that are to come. True to character, Martha is the active hostess with the mostess. Mary, the contemplative, brings in a jar of an expensive perfumed unguent. An unguent is a sort of soft, greasy or viscous substance used as ointment, and pours it all over the feet of Jesus, filling the house with its fragrance. It is a sign of great love and echoes what the sinful woman in Luke's Gospel also did. And this account is probably the same as described in Mark 14, verses 3 to 9, and Matthew 26, verses 6 to 13, but is distinct from the story of the woman in Luke 7, 36 to 50. While the beloved disciple is a nameless character in John's Gospel, he can be matched by this beloved disciple. Judas, the spiritually blind materialist, only sees what he regards as a terrible waste. Hypocritically, he suggests the money would have been better spent helping the poor. But John suggests Judas was more interested in getting the money for himself than sharing it with those in need. Jesus sees an altogether different meaning in Mary's action. He sees the tremendous love behind the action and interprets it as a symbolical anointing for his burial. Dying as a common criminal, Jesus would normally not have been anointed. And in fact, he was not anointed after his burial. When the women went to do the act on Sunday morning, Jesus was already risen. Jesus says, "You have the poor with you always, you will not always have me." This is not to be understood in a cynical way. The poor cannot be truly loved except in God and in Jesus. As often as you do it to the least of these my brothers and sisters, you do it for me. Only those who truly love God, whatever name they call him, are only able truly to love the poor and all those in need, and vice versa. Also in Jewish tradition, there is a disagreement as to whether giving alms to the poor or burying the dead, which would include anointing, was the greater act of mercy. Those in favour of burial thought that it is an essential condition for sharing in the final resurrection. And finally, we're told Lazarus' own life is in danger as well as Jesus's. Lazarus is seen as the living sign of Jesus' divine power, and so they both must be wiped out. Many of the church's martyrs died for the same reason. The word martyr meaning witness, witnessing to the truth, love and power of Christ. But the question remains for us today, and for all of us to think on. Am I willing to be a martyr witness for Christ? To stand beside him on the cross as he is mocked and insulted? This is the week for you, me, all of us, to find the answer to that question. finally a prayer. Lord our God, you have called your people to be the servant of one another in the cause of justice and mercy. You showed us in Jesus, your Son, what it means to serve and how much this may cost us. Fill us with the Spirit of Jesus, that we too may not break those who are weak, nor repel those groping in the dark. And let him teach us to serve and to love with compassion for the helpless, and respect those the least and poorest, together with Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.